Hello, and welcome to the Charlesbridge Book Buzz. First, we're really excited to introduce a brand new middle grade fiction imprint designed for reluctant readers. These stories focus on character, kids who readers will want to be best friends with, that they will pretend to be, and characters that kids will talk to each other about. The stories are adventures, emotionally driven realistic fiction, histories, and more. The first novel, The Kid, by debut author Jeff Schill, which released on May 7th, is a classic Western adventure with good guys, bad guys, and a lot of sarsaparilla. The unique storytelling structure includes four narratives. Our hero, Henry, is 14 years old. He has sadly been thrust into the role of caretaker of his younger brothers. Henry relies on his writing talents and creates the character of the Kid, the quickest draw in the West, to keep people away from their town and to keep his brothers together on the family farm. Henry's stories are published in Gunslinger magazine, but when they catch the attention of real-life outlaw Snake Eye Sam, danger comes to the town of Destiny despite all of Henry's best efforts. Snake Eye Sam believes the Kid is real and he's itching to take him on and to take him down. Henry has to stop writing his stories in the hopes of making Snake Eye go away. But meanwhile, in New York City, Henry's editor, Air Bear, is tasked with finding out why Gunslinger magazine's most popular stories have dried up. So Air Bear heads to Destiny to find out. All four stories converge in one exciting conclusion. Will everyone get what they deserve? A fantastic adventure that includes four rich narratives, a period setting in the American Wild West, emotional resonance, and laugh out loud situations, all in a fast paced, page turning adventure with fantastic dialogue. Next, releasing in July, is Hum by William David Thomas. Mixing a little magic realism with an emotionally driven story, readers will relate to 11-year-old Alan. Alan is sent to live with his grandmother in a small village in upstate New York. Alan has a persistent habit of humming and difficulty connecting with people. But when he meets an old llama at a winter festival, he learns that he has the ability to speak the llama's language, and memories of his early years and his parents' deaths bubble up to the surface. But when the llama's life is threatened, Alan must take matters into his own hands to save his friend. The two escape to the snowy wilderness of the Adirondacks. Alan wrestles with the lies about his past while struggling against the elements. Readers who love books like Hatchet and Catherine Applegate's books will find a new favorite in Hum. The story embraces universal themes of friendship and fitting in, as well as focusing on mental health and exploring the difficulty and nuances found in intergenerational family relationships when dealing with grief, loss, and repressed memories. And the third book on the inaugural Charlesbridge Moves list is Wings to Soar by Tina Athaide, author of Orange for the Sunsets and Mina's Mindful Moment. Wings to Soar is a novel in verse set in London in 1972. Viva's Indian family has been expelled from Uganda during Idi Amin's rule and are living in a resettlement camp. Their plan is to emigrate to Canada, but Viva's father is still in Uganda, and they stay in London waiting for him. Viva struggles with racism, hatred toward immigrants, friendships, and the loss of friendships. Author Tina Athaide herself was born in Uganda and lived in London at the time of the expulsion of Indians by the Ugandan government. This story mirrors our current climate of hostile sentiments toward refugees in the U.S., but gives readers some distance to see the situation through an historical lens. And with a strong female protagonist, powerful poetic voice, plenty of white space to keep the pages turning, readers will be drawn in and engaged from the very first line. I have a name. And new on the Charlesbridge list, first up is The Perilous Performance at Milkweed Meadow by Elaine Demopoulos and illustrated by Caldecott medalist Doug Salati. This is the exciting sequel to the acclaimed The Remarkable Rescue at Milkweed Meadow. This is a cozy, sweet, but adventurous early middle grade novel in which four animal friends must save the meadow from a flock of lying turkeys. For kids who love anthropomorphic adventures, this one packs a strong message of trusting oneself and our own creativity, as well as learning to trust those who know and love us, even when it's hard. The story has a classic feel and is a perfect classroom read aloud or read along. As in The Remarkable Rescue, Elaine Demopoulos incorporates storytelling elements in her character building and plot. Our heroine, Butternut, follows in her family's oral storytelling traditions, and we readers learn from her what makes a good story, from pacing, character, climactic action, and a good ending. There is a downloadable discussion guide for the first book, The Remarkable Rescue at Milkweed Meadow. Look for it to be updated with discussion and activities for the perilous performance at Milkweed Meadow at charlesbridge.com. And by author Michelle Cusilito comes a very cool STEM title called A Window into the Ocean Twilight Zone. Michelle climbs aboard a Spanish research ship with scientists from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute to write about what life is like for scientists in the field. What life on the boat is like, the technology they use, the animals they study, the science they discover. This is a primary source written by an author with a unique perspective as a science educator with first-hand look at what it's like on the voyage of a lifetime. From moving onto the ship and unpacking equipment to facing massive storms while in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, this book details the fascinating equipment used to study the deep ocean, as well as day-to-day details of life on board. Michelle Cusilito is one of the best science writers out there. Her narrative style plops readers right into the action. This cutting-edge science for upper elementary and middle grade readers will help them understand how ocean exploration works and provides info about the deep sea world, research, and more. Next up is Yumbo Gumbo from our Storytelling Math series. Author Keila V. Dawson draws on her Louisiana Creole heritage to bring a story about a mixed-race family who gets together for a big cook-up of gumbo. Problem is, no one can agree on what kind of gumbo. Half want okra and half want chicken. Annabelle needs to figure out the best way to make the decision. The family votes, but it results in a tie. So, democracy didn't work. Annabelle embarks on an exploration of data and social-emotional reasoning to come to the best conclusion. Too few math picture books feature BIPOC characters. Yumbo Gumbo stars mixed-race Louisiana Creole children and includes a glossary of Creole words. We do have a downloadable discussion activity guide as well as a delicious gumbo recipe on charlesbridge.com. The story involves the math of gathering, interpreting, and using data. This kind of mathematical thinking lays the groundwork for learning about data literacy, data science, and statistics. We are so glad that book number 3 of the Hands-On Science series by former educator Lola M. Schaefer is now available. This series, which includes Hands-On Science Matter, Hands-On Science Geology, and now Hands-On Science Motion, is sure to appeal to young science lovers. This is Press Here meets Bill Nye the Science Guy, inviting readers to interact with the illustrations and experience the science experiments safely. Here we have a ball and a ramp. It's level, but if we tilt the book, whoosh, we see gravity pull the marble down the track. Also see what happens if you poke whipped cream, slide bean bags to test friction, and more. After predicting what will happen next, readers turn the page to see the results. Science is exciting in a whole new way with these hands-on books. Doing science is fun, exciting, surprising, and always inspiring. Kids will be anxious to do more. This is a lab in a book. It's a JLG Gold selection, and Shelf Awareness says, Santiago's crisp lines paired with Schaefer's uncomplicated descriptions ensure that readers will see how they create forces every moment of every day. Oh, how we love this book. La Mala Suerta is Following Me by Anna Sequeira. It's perfect for kids who are fascinated by superstitions. Anna was born on the 13th, and the superstition of Friday the 13th affected her hard growing up. Many kids will relate. In this story, Miguel is the star soccer player, a good student, and all-around confident kid. That is, until he opens an umbrella in the house and his abuelita warns him that La Mala Suerta, or Mrs. Bad Luck, will follow him. How's he going to get rid of her? Everything he touches goes wrong, but his mother tells him that he can make his own luck. So Miguel concentrates, works hard, and overcomes his fear of bad luck and realizes that we are captains of our own ship and we do make our own luck through perseverance and hard work. And little by little, he regains his confidence and a little humility. Back matter includes more information about superstitions from around the world and their cultural significance, a few activities, and a glossary of Spanish words. This is a wonderfully universal story that features Latinx characters and a Spanish-speaking American family. And another that we wanted to be sure to share with you because Janae Brown Wood is our new favorite author. In Mahogany, she dives into the classic fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood and puts a black spin on everything. Mahogany is a spunky girl who loves to sew, listen to music, and wear fresh kicks. On the way to deliver homemade honey cornbread to Grandma's house, she encounters a hungry wolf. Because Mahogany is clever, she stands by a willow tree where her long black curly hair blends with the branches. She hides in the forest where her ebony skin merges with the shadows. And Mahogany knows the lavender scent of her skin will mix with the smells of flowering plants, tricking any wolf nose. Ultimately, Mahogany's blackness, her wits, and her sewing skills all save her in this refreshing, celebratory, and innovative retelling. This is an excellent read-aloud with fun and funny dialogue, a fresh contemporary retelling of a classic fairy tale, and a unique premise that celebrates a young child's blackness. We do have a downloadable activity discussion guide on our website at charlesbridge.com. One reason we love this retelling is that Mahogany is so joyful, clever, strong, and confident. She's afraid, but she keeps her wits about her. And I so appreciate Janae claiming a classic for little black girls like she was, and showing them that they are Little Red Riding Hood too. Everyone's favorite book lover is back in her 9th story, Lola Meets the Bees by Anna McQuinn and illustrated by Rosalind Beardshaw. In this delightful story, Lola learns about urban beekeeping and the importance of bees. Lola is off to visit her mommy's friend Zora, who is a beekeeper. So of course Lola starts reading. She wants to know all there is to know about bees and beekeeping. She's got a lot of questions for Zora. That's what's so great about Lola's stories. They model a child seeking to satisfy her many curiosities through books and research with the help of her grown-ups. Zora teaches Lola about beehives, the different roles bees play in the hive and in the garden, their importance in pollination. She gets to wear the special beekeeper suit, and she gets to taste honey right from the hive. Now, we just celebrated World Bee Day on May 20th, but World Honey Bee Day is coming up on August 17th. Lola Meets the Bees is the perfect pre-literacy learning model. Lola conducts online research, makes signs for the garden, and reads picture books to help her understanding. Next up is Sammy's Special Gift, an Eid al-Adha story by M.O. Yuxel and illustrated by Hussein Somazeh. This beautiful story celebrates the Muslim holiday of Eid al-Adha, which this year begins on the evening of June 16th. Author Mindy Yuxel is from Turkey, and bringing this story to publication has been on her heart for some time. This year, Sammy is not as excited about the Eid Carnival as previous years. He recently lost his grandfather, and memories of celebrating Eid with him are making Sammy sad. But a special gift from his grandmother in Istanbul makes Sammy's heart soar. It was his grandfather's special tie, something of Didi's that he can keep close to himself. Part of his family's Eid celebrations include purchasing meat, 1/3 to share with friends, 1/3 with family, and 1/3 with people in need. Eid is about charity, gratitude, and sharing. So his family stops at the butcher's and then takes food to the local shelter where his family volunteers. There, Sammy meets a boy his own age. The boy has had to leave behind all of his belongings when he left his home for the shelter. Sammy is affected very deeply by the boy's situation, and he thinks about his own loss and what his grandfather would do. Sammy gifts Dee Dee's tie to the boy so he will have something of his own. Both author and illustrator of Sammy's Special Gift are Muslim, and sharing this important cultural holiday with Muslims and non-Muslims is a special gift for them both. This story offers cultural appeal, social emotional learning through ways to deal with grief and loss, giving, gratitude, and finding peace and creating joy for others. Back matter includes information about Eid al-Adha, a glossary, and brief information about homeless shelters. And there is a downloadable discussion guide on charlesbridge.com. Next is I Heard, An American Journey by Naila Avery and illustrated by Steffi Waldhall. This poem illustrates the history of Black people in America, beginning in pre-colonial Africa, through slavery, through the Civil Rights Movement, to Black Lives Matter, and ending with Justice Jackson sitting on the bench of the U.S. Supreme Court. With stunning lyricism reminiscent of traditional African spirituals and today's rhythm and flow of hip-hop, a teacher shares the history of being Black in the U.S., while continuing to march into present day, undeterred and proud to be Black. Author Naila Avery shows you have to understand the past to shape the future, and knowing who you are gives you the strength to do just that. The conversation around race relations in the U.S. continues to be front and center, and quality literature that helps children, both Black and not, to understand the past and the present will be in demand for years to come. Poetry, rhythm, and lyricism has always been used in picture books. Like music, short, lyrical phrases and rhyme engage the reader in what they are seeing on the page. Verse deeply resonates with today's reader due to its musicality, a great way to get across tough topics. Back matter provides context for the Black history references in the poem. Oh, this one is such fun. On Friday Afternoon, a Shabbat Celebration by Michelle Babet and illustrated by Menahem Halberstadt. It's Friday afternoon, and Shabbat dinner is just a few hours away. But there is so much to do, and Lily and her dog, Pickles, are glad to help out. Silliness abounds as Lily and Pickles help clean up, but leave all new messes in their wake. They want to collect their tzedakah for donation, but create a huge mess. But their hearts are in the right place. A musical parade through the neighborhood brings together friends and family just in time for the lighting of the candles. Such satisfying mishigas. There aren't a lot of books about Shabbat, and this one is full of goofy, loving fun. Back matter includes additional details about Shabbat mitzvot. This is the perfect book for sharing everyday Jewish life and the celebration of an important tradition. This little-known history will spark a lot of conversation. Kindred Spirits, Shilombush Itabakava by Leslie Stahl Widener and illustrated by Johnson Yazzie is a beautiful cross-cultural story that spans centuries. In 1845, the potato crop in Ireland was blighted, and as families were unable to pay rents to landowners, soon famine set in. In the Choctaw Nation, the people saw what was happening in Ireland and felt that the Irish were suffering a similar injustice that they themselves had suffered on the Trail of Tears. The Choctaw saw the Irish as kindred spirits. They collected $170 to give to the people of Ireland. That is the equivalent of $5,000 today, a huge sum for a struggling people. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hit the Hopi and Navajo nations particularly hard. The people of Ireland saw what was happening to these people and collected donations to help during the crisis. Author Leslie Stahl Widener is a citizen of the Choctaw Nation, and illustrator Johnson Yazzie is Navajo. This story is an amazing example of how history affects us into the present. The book covers two important historical events, the potato famine and COVID-19. Extensive back matter includes an author's note, further information about the Choctaw Trail of Tears and Death, Irish potato famine, the Choctaw Nation in Ireland today, as well as timelines. Next up is Pickle Words, Crunchy Punchy Pickles and Poetry by April Polisser and illustrated by Jailai Sun. This sweet, spicy celebration of all things pickled is the perfect poetry picture book for foodies. Open the book to savor a riotous rainbow of pickles. Not just green cucumbers, but yellow peppers, pink cabbages, and purple plums. Pickles come in all shapes and sizes, and so do the words that describe them. And this is the perfect read aloud. Each page includes rhyming and expressive text, ideal for a storytime presenter to act out key phrases and verbs. People all around the world have their own customs and traditions for making pickles. This book is a one-of-a-kind, inside look at how different cultures prepare their pickled produce. Punchy poetry and zesty art tell the story of a diverse community drawn together by their love of pickles. From kosher dills to sweet chutney to tangy kimchi, Pickle Words describes them all in this global tour of pickled foods. Back matter includes the science of pickling, an easy recipe for refrigerator pickles, and a visual glossary of pickles from around the world. This book also highlights food sustainability. Food deserts are all too common in the United States. A focus on eating local and growing your own food is becoming a solution for many communities. I hope educators will love the quick and energetic pickled words scattered throughout the story and the invitation to use the words to write pickle poems. Fits in with curriculum about poetry, vocabulary, and science. And lastly, this biography of Mary Anning is awesome. She Sells Seashells, Mary Anning, an Unlikely Paleontologist, is by author Heidi E.Y. Stemple. Once forced to the sidelines of science, Mary is now recognized for her work and for her brilliance. And this is a rousing, empowering nonfiction biography for STEM-minded kids. At first, Mary Anning collected shells and other curiosities to sell in her family's shop. Then she began discovering fossils that were monumental to changing the course of how we understand life on Earth. But educated male scientists at the time, men who bought and studied Mary's fossils, did not recognize her skills, nor did they include her in their discussions as the field of paleontology emerged. Self-taught and passionate, Mary was too busy making new discoveries to worry about those rich, educated men. Today, she is recognized as the first paleontologist. Perfect for STEM, science, social studies, and girl empowerment curricula, Mary Anning's story has been told before, but never through such an engaging feminist-inspired voice that details how much Mary was an outlier during her time and yet remained persistent no matter what. Back matter includes more information on Mary's life, where she lived, what she found and sold, and being a woman of her time. For me, I can't get enough of Mary Anning. Thank you so much. I wish I could share all of our new and forthcoming books with you today, but you can find our list at charlesbridge.com. There you can also find downloadable discussion and activity guides, author and illustrator information, trailers, author videos, webinars, and more. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at dspurlock@charlesbridge.com. Thanks.